Hello, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple Python program which can calculate the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane. So, let's begin. We'll be learning about variables, typecasting, different types of different inputs. We'll be learning about variables. We'll be learning about operations like power and times and minus and even plus. So we'll just need to ask for first four variables: x1, x2, y1, y2. Now, unlike in JavaScript, you don't need to put anything before like let or var. So now you just need to say input and say enter x1, okay, enter x2, input, enter y1, input, enter y2. Now you are thinking that these are all the variables, they've all been now assigned. Assigning is basically putting something in a variable. Variables are kind of like boxes, they hold different values. Now you'll see what happens when I print this down. But if I use plus with all of these, so like x1 plus x2 plus y1 plus y2, you'll think that it's just running like it should. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Okay, so it just added all of these values. So from each one, it didn't actually add anything. It just combined the string. Add one of these 9s, then the next one I said was 9, so it also added that 9 and 9. So that's why this happened. And what happens if you do times? Now that's how you can see that it's not actually taking it. It's 9999. Whoops, I just written that 9999. Okay, so now type error. Can't multiply sequence by nonint of type string. Okay, so why is it not able to multiply sequence? First of all, this is an error, actually a type error, because it's the different type of what it should be. Now, the type we have here is string. So this is the data type, string. Now you can't add hello with hello because they aren't numbers. So that's what the computer is trying to do and is giving an error because it can't. Now we will put float. In a moment we'll see what is a float and how it will magically solve this problem. Float is, put it on the other side here, and remember always to put another bracket around, otherwise the float doesn't think that it's inside, thus it doesn't know which to convert. So floats, they convert it to a float type, so data types. So let's see all the data types actually. So let's say float, let's say int, let's say string, and let's say boolean. So these are the most commonly used data types. Equals to, so float is 0.1 or 1. So it can take decimal or it can take a whole number. Is 1. It can only take a simple whole number. Is high. So it can take different things like that. And true or false. Now the different thing about the string is it can take things like hello, how are you? It takes it as a text. And Boolean is true or false. Okay, so now that we've learned about all these data types, let's see how the float does things. Let's just say 9999 6561. So that's 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Now, why did it print out 6561 now? That's because of the float behind. So this converted a string type to a float type. Now the float type can be used, say, in times, multiply, divide, plus, even square and square root. So it can be used in all of that now because it's been turned from a kind of a hello string into an actual number. So 9999. And now it will give an error if we write some string like, say, a. So as you can see, could not convert string to float. So it isn't able to convert strings like a to float. Now let's delete this and do the actual thing. The problem we'll be trying to solve is going to be, so distance between the points 10, 7 and 1, -5. Okay, so these are the different points. Let's see how we will solve this. So we first need to use the formula, which is y2 minus y1 squared, and then plus x2 minus x1 squared. So we are going to be doing this. Let's try it out. To make things clear, I'll be making in two different variables, but you can write in one variable if you like. So part 1 equals to y2, y2 minus y1. So this is just for making it look like it's a formula. And then we have to do the squared. Now how do you do squared in Python? You need to do power. So you just need to do steric 2. Now simple 1 steric would be times. However, the power or square symbol will be power 2. Now you can do cube, you can do 4, 5, 6, as many as you want. But we'll be doing with square right now. Part 2 equals to x2 minus x1 power 2. So then we need to answer equal to part 1 plus part 2. Power 1/2. Now you're thinking, why did I do power 1/2? The formula is the whole thing, part 1 plus part 2. Then you need to do square root because it moves from one side to the other. So let's actually write the full formula. So we just need to do option here. Yes, and then we need to say, so the simple formula we can say is y1 minus y2 plus x1 minus x2 squared. So we need to put them both in brackets. The whole formula is this, and then I'm just going to write like the Python operator, the square. So this y1 minus y2 square plus root square. So because of this, we just need to move this, and this is all in squared, so that turns to square root, and you can solve this easily. So this is the basic thing we're doing in part 1 and part 2, where since it's algebra, so we just need to move to the other side, and that makes square into square root. So a square, b square, c square, because we're using Pythagoras' theorem. So square root is 1 over 2. If you want to do cube root, if you want to do 4, 5, 6, any root, you can just change that number here. Okay, and let's see, will it work? X1, so we'll be using first the 10, then we'll be using the 1, 7, and then minus 5. So x1 is always this number, y1 is always this number, x2 is always this number, and y2 is always this number. Okay, x1, so x1 is going to be 10, x2 is going to be 1, y1 is going to be 7, and y2 is gonna be minus 5. And it does nothing. Well, actually it did do the full calculation, it's just that it hasn't actually printed it out yet. Now we just need to do this, and I'm going to say comma 1. Now why did I put comma 1? Because in case you have a decimal, you have things like 1.999999 or 1.9 and some random numbers, any kind of random numbers, decimals behind your normal number, so it will round it to the 10th place. So in case, this is just precautionary in case that happens. So let's now try this. So 10, 1, 7, minus 5, whoops, not equal to 5, minus 5, and that's our answer, 15. And so our answer works. Now let's just try, say, 2 more. X1 is going to be minus 6, x2 is going to be 1, y1 is going to be 2, y2 is going to be 2. 7. Okay, so that we can do, and one last. So say 3 minus 10, so that's 3 is replaced here, 3, then we have minus 10, then we have y1 which is going to be 5, and we have here which is going to be minus 3. Now we can just say y1, so y1 is going to be what? 5 minus 3, 15.3. So it may have given us more, but since it's like this, we had that round, so it didn't do anything like that it gave a whole bunch of big numbers. So this is it. However, you can add extra things, like say we can say like this, the distance between the 2 points is many units. Now why did I put spaces behind and in front? Because if I didn't, it would just appear right in front of the number or behind the number. Sorta like if we say did this. Hi. Like, so it would, if Alex were the variable that were the answer we got from, say, some calculation, so it would just appear next to them. So because of the space, it looks normal. Let's delete that. Okay, so this many units it can now say, and your program is basically done. However, there is still one last thing if you choose to put the distance thingy. So you can use str. Now, let's just see what happens if we don't do that. So 3 minus 10, 5 minus 3 must be string, not float. Now, why is it complaining again about the type error? Because we're trying to add a string with a string. So string with a string, if you add, so say we had two strings, A and B. Now, when you have to combine these strings, they just become A, B. So that's what happens when you do the plus. However, if say you have a number 10 and B, and now you want to add a number with a string. Now that makes no sense because you cannot combine a number with a string. If you think about it, the Python will think you're trying to add, and adding cannot add, say, letters or strings. So that's why we need to put a string operator to turn it back to a string after we've done the calculation. So 3 minus 10, 3 minus 10, 5 minus 3, whoops, minus 3. And the distance between the 2 points is 15.3 units. Actually, let's just not say many, let's just say units. So this is how you can do it. Let's try one question. Minus 5, say, is x1, x2 is minus 10, y1 is 5, y2 is 10. The distance between the 2 points is 7.1 units. Now, feel free to check any of these answers, and see you in the next video. Remember to save your project and name it. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye!